Cool. I've also heard you talk about mission design in terms of it being a far more waterfall approach in the space industry because of kind of the order in which you need to do things. Got to know how big your satellite's going to be, how much mass it's going to have before you can pick a rocket and put it into orbit, which kind of leads to a set of dependent decisions. If the industry were to shift and be more agile in its approach, kind of what sort of collaborations would that open up?
It's an exciting idea, and it's something that I've spent quite a bit of time thinking about. I had plenty of training and opportunity to do more traditional project management and waterfall type approaches to things throughout my career. And as I started becoming more of an agile practitioner, I found that I think there's actually something that could really be borrowed from that and applied to the space industry, and it just really hasn't been that way traditionally. And there are reasons for that. I mean, traditionally, it would take somewhere between 5 to 10 years to get a satellite on orbit from inception of the idea. And there are reasons for that. I mean, there are very specific things you have to do before you put a satellite on orbit, vacuum chamber testing and vibration analysis. And there's a lot of stuff you have to do to be careful of, because once it's up there, you have little to no opportunity to change it. You might be able to update the software if you plan for that. There's a few things you might be able to do, but you're not going to go change an optic like we did on the Hubble, for every satellite that's up there. That is cost prohibitive and location prohibitive. Really, we just don't have a way to do it. So you have to make sure it's perfect before you send it up. But part of the reason for that is that we traditionally plan for satellites to stay up there for a really long time. Anywhere from 10, 20, some of them, there's still ones on orbit that are operating that have been up there for over 30 years. And so, that satellite that's been up there for 30 years and is still operating, yeah, you're getting something out of it, but it's over 30-year-old technology that's being used up there. So obviously, you're not getting the efficiency out of it. You're not getting up-to-date technology transfer into what we're using up there. I think using a more agile approach to how we launch and design satellites, where we are more frequently changing them out and updating the technology, and you're planning for that. So you're designing the bus knowing you're only going to have it up there for 5 years tops, and you're going to replace it every 5 years, and you plan for that so that you can always have the most up-to-date capabilities and technologies on there. I think that there could be some real benefit to that. And Starlink right now, as an example with SpaceX, they have the opportunity, in my opinion, to be more agile about how they do their work, because they're putting up smaller, more inexpensive satellites in huge numbers, so that every time they put up a new group, they can make minor updates to the capability and could be continuously improving what they're putting up, which is ultimately how Agile goes about its processes and mindset. So I think there's opportunity there. It really comes down to the industry thinking differently about how we're going to develop things and how we're going to put them up there. But a company that can do that can be on the leading edge of the current technologies that are available at any given time. And that could provide a real economic advantage to somebody.
Yeah, certainly being iterative, you have to be comfortable with throwing things away, and being willing and able to throw them away quickly, which allows you to be very creative and innovative if you are comfortable throwing things away. Just like an artist will sketch, they'll throw lots and lots of sketches away because that's part of the creative process. If you have to get your sketch perfect the first time, you become awfully married to that idea and that design and kind of committed for a long period of time.
Very true. And one of the things that I think helps allow this become possible is the much reduced cost of launch. So when launch was, 30 years ago, extremely set numbers and very expensive. But as we're seeing more and more companies come online offering launch opportunities at a much reduced cost, I think that makes it a lot easier to look at options for doing shorter term satellites in that iterative process. That's an important aspect to being able to accomplish that.
Very cool. Well, thanks again for getting together with me, and look forward to doing these again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
you bet.